He lived in California, Dinuba, California. I live
Mhm.
in Arkansas now, so my mom's half Filipino.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, they are. His last name was Tombokin, so there's a few
Mm.
Facebook friends I
Okay.
have. Here's another one. All right, let's see. Let me get my 3-up panel here. You're a little squished.
I am.
Now, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Singapore.
Singapore. So we got the Philippines and Singapore. This is awesome. This is worldwide. So I live in rural, just
Rural.
outside of rural Arkansas in Little Rock, and I've been streaming for a couple of years now, but I'm having some internet issues. I'm just trying to figure out some settings to see what I can do doing packet tests and stuff like that while I'm streaming. So thank you guys for
Sure.
helping. So you guys
No
Ecamm
problem.
users?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Hold on. I'm doing this little quick packet test. It says I have no packet loss. So we'll figure it all out here pretty soon. See if we have anybody. You're asking about the lower thirds or the how I bring up the chat. Let's go in here. I can show.
Have you tried using the virtual microphone?
I have not tried the virtual microphone yet. I haven't have a need for it. So
During the time I'm testing it, I'm trying to configure my audio going to Microsoft Teams, but for some reason I think I'm having a little bit of echo and some distortions also. I'm still
right.
trying to figure out with that. Maybe my audio interface or my settings.
It's super new. So if you have an issue, I would put it in this group here and see if Ken or Glenn can take a look at it. That would be the best way that I know. I did talk to somebody, or DJ Strick, my co-host for the stream show. He tried it today with StreamYard, and he was having some issues as well. He said he didn't like it; didn't sound 100%. So um, he said it sounded a little like some interference and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So what do you guys stream?
I usually hold events, live events, and I
Live
usually
events.
teach. Yeah.
All right. And you, sir?
I don't actually, I don't stream. I do corporate training.
Okay.
So it's mostly Zoom calls or MS Team calls, but on occasion, sort of YouTube stream so that a larger audience can dial in via YouTube if MS Teams or Zooms can't take the total audience. So
Cool.
we've done sort of 1,000 people and above at some point, and so then we stream it onto YouTube so that anyone above 1,000 can dial in and watch via YouTube.
Can you
But
name the
I only
company?
only done a few. It's one of the local banks
Okay.
here that I work with, and so they do that. It's more for internal purposes, so it's only for people within the company to watch that sort of interview or knowledge sharing session. So then we stream, but yeah, that's very rare. I think I've only done that less than 5 times, like a few times only that's occurred.
So you use
Nowadays you can stream. Yeah.
well, you use the virtual cam and Ecamm to make your presentation side look better.
Yeah, I use Ecamm to sort of bring people in. Sometimes I use the interview mode within Ecamm
Mm-hmm.
to bring people into Ecamm, and then from my side, I then stream it out to Zoom so that on my screen I'll have 2 or 3 people like you have now, and it
Gotcha.
goes into Zoom as me sharing my. Usually I share my Ecamm window, so we get slightly better quality,
Very
and so
cool.
that works. Um, but sometimes especially with banks, for example, they have a limitation that Ecamm, the interview doesn't work, for example, because their browser won't let them share the window. Like Ecamm has to take, I think it's called share recording or something
Right,
when you
right.
go into Ecamm, and the security settings won't let their browser when they share their camera. So then they have to do it from their phone, and it gets very complicated. So sometimes it's even eCam interview doesn't work. They just have to call into Zoom separately, and it just becomes the old standard individual ones. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's but otherwise eCam, yeah, I use that.
So I'm trying to see where the stream. Here we are. I was trying to check our live stream here, so see how it's going. And it's going. Seems to be
I don't
going
know
well.
if you experienced this, but again, I'm having a difficulty with my output.
Okay.
It was supposed to be in my user interface, my Zoom U24. I'm using a U24 right now, but then again, the output selected is U24, but it was rerouting to the Mac external headphones. I don't know what's happening with that during the interview mode.
Huh. So I have everything set. I use a Rodecaster, so everything's coming in through my Rodecaster, so it sees that as the audio source. You can go. Let me put on demo mode here. Overlay. Here's live demo mode. All right, so you can go into preferences, and you can look in interview mode here. See play ringtones, guest views the broadcast, lower music. So when you're using it inside of Zoom or something else, and you have the drop down box, you're picking virtual cam, correct?
Yeah, I get that, but then again, right now I'll try to share my screen in a second.
Hold on, I got another one coming in. Let's switch to
I,
four
I,
up.
I don't know.
You-
Can you see this?
So
There we go, Graham.
Oh,
Let me take you
It was
full screen here in a
supposed to
second.
be.
Hold on. I'll take him full screen here a second. There we go. All right. So there's
Yeah,
your U24.
yeah, and it was rerouting in my JBL on the external headphones. I cannot hear the audio. It was supposed to be hearing myself back
If you want to
in
hear
the.
yourself back, you can go to the up here in options. I'm sorry, output video or audio monitor. I have mine turned to off, so I don't because I'm using through the
Mm,
Rodecaster. So you can
but
turn that to
I,
whichever your external headphones or whatever.
mhm. But usually I don't turn it on because of the feedback or the delay of the
Right.
frequency. I usually monitor myself using my audio interface, but then again, I cannot hear myself using the audio interface. It is rerouting through the external headphone port right now, but I haven't selected it yet. I'm selecting
yeah,
this.
I
This is
can't
my YouTube
can't
one.
hear myself either. Can you hear me? Just
I
gotta.
can hear you, Graham. Hold
Okay,
on,
cool. No worries.
because you're not on screen. So if I bring everybody up, four up. There we go. I think we can hear you now. Try now.
All right. Can you hear me now? Hey,
Yep.
everybody. Just here
Can I
to
hear you
help out.
okay?
Yeah,
Yep.
I can hear. I can hear other people talking. So that's good.
All right. Let me get off demo mode here. So
What
we're now,
specifically did you want to test, Brand?
well, I'm just trying to overload the system. So I have a Mac Mini,
Ah,
M1, and I've been using for a couple of years now. So we do a show live called The Stream Show with Strick and Brant every Sunday night, live at 6 p.m. Central Time, U.S. And I'm usually the guest. So Strick runs it from, he's in another state,
hmm
he's in Alabama, and I'm here. And the last two episodes, I have been just a garbled mess, and I should have plenty of everything. And it's something we're seeing the guys who developed the software looked at some of the information and seen I had these huge packet losses. So I'm tweaking out my internet, trying to figure out doing some tests, but obviously I've got four people now, and I'm not really getting the packet losses and stuff. So it could be internet provider, but I wonder if it's the interview mode because I have had some issue being a guest more than I have being streaming. So I see more issues as a guest than I do streaming, and I don't know how to control that because I don't guess you can.
As a guest, you're going through the browser, right?
Right, and we always try to use Chrome. Sometimes I'll use Brave because it was working a little better for a little while. So I don't, is that a browser thing? Does it need a browser upgrade? Ken and Glenn, who write the software eCam, I've been talking with Ken, so hopefully he's watching this, and he'll give me some feedback, and I'll send him a report after this to see. Of course, the number one's going to be my connection. So I live in a rural area. I do have point-to-point wireless, high-end radio signal going about 1,000 feet, but I haven't had an issue with that. I'm supposed to get fiber soon, so that will cure up any problems. But right now I'm doing 1080p. I actually had, even though I'm going Wi-Fi from my house, I have a point-to-point, but I was going through a router and I was using Ethernet. And actually I went and gave up on the Ethernet cable because I was having packet locks with the Ethernet cable and not the, so is that the cable? Is it the box? Or is it the connection in the Mac Mini? So I'm just trying to figure all this out. But right now I knew if I could just get a bunch of people on here, I could really stress test what's going on. So, and I haven't seen a glitch yet.
I've been
Have you
testing
guys
out my.
experienced dragging a video on your screen and the video suddenly won't disappear, or you try to clear the recent videos but it's still there playing? I don't know if you
Oh, in the
experienced that.
background, like if you drop it on the back, yeah, that's, you have to go up into the, let me see if I can do that real quick. So up here, I have the video looping behind us in the background. You would have to go in there, and that's what, it's hard to get to that through all of these. I think there's a shortcut to that I don't know. Usually all I'll do is, let's see, do nothing, go to the next scene. That's just looping.
I'm trying to figure out the layers in the overlay, but I can't see it. But it's still playing
Right,
with
it's
the
in a
background.
base layer, so because even like if you look here, it's not showing up in my layer. So a lot of times I'll just start a whole new layer and start over. I know that's a terrible way to do it, but
Okay.
it is, even if I can get through to everybody here, it's still, and I'm sure there's a shortcut for it that I don't know. Graham probably knows it.
Are you talking shortcut in Ecamm?
Yeah.
I have no idea how to use Ecamm. I'm on a PC.
Oh, that's right. You're a PC guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a PC guy, and I'm currently playing around with NVIDIA RTX broadcast, which allows me to really make my image look better and deals with the background, putting it out of focus, and then all my audio, despite the fact I have the heater on running, making sound in the background, is apparently taken out. So yeah,
you look better than I've seen you before.
Yeah, every day I'm making some adjustments and improving stuff. I'm still trying to get the contrast to play nicely here because I haven't. See, it wants to go really bright on the contrast. But then I was like, okay, but then I have to drop the brightness down. There's not as many because it's a webcam. So
so you have a lot of settings in the camera. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because what I have set up here is basically. It's actually an FS700, so it's a very nice ENG camera, but then it's connected to the computer via just a little USB HDMI to USB dongle. It makes it look like a webcam.
Right.
So then I'm controlling it through the camera. Automatically controls get me mostly of the way, but then I have to go to the webcam controller to make it, that adjustment. And then I'm looking at the three of you guys and trying to match your contrast of light, dark, etc., so that I actually have it in the program so that I look.
So I do the same. I've got a Lumix G7 and I'm running through the 4K Elgato Cam Link, but I actually, if I take off, I actually have brightness. I have mine affected too, so it would look like this normally, but I end up having, which is weird because it doesn't look this way in the camera, but it loses stuff as it goes through processing, I guess. So I end up just pumping everything up. So
yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm in the process. I think I've told everyone a million times. I'm in the process of selling a whole bunch of Nikon stuff over here to be able to go and buy myself a Sony because I have the FS700. So I'm like, I might as well stay with the E mount and get something that's a little bit more portable and go from there. So I've been playing around with a bunch of stuff there because that's what I'm up to. But
yep, use what you got.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to sell all the Nikon stuff. I'm not really using it's great stuff for photography, but when it comes to video, it's been just a pain in the nether regions for things that should work and then don't work, or they don't work as well. And I talk to people and here's a crazy workaround. I'm like, yeah, it's a crazy workaround that requires an extra piece and a couple $100, and then you're like, and then it doesn't really quite do what you want. And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I'm testing feverishly, because I've invested a ton of. I got a lot of old equipment. So like this is a Panasonic video camera that
Yeah,
I still use. It actually does great for this, for a web camera. It's better than
yeah,
whatever. This Lumix does 4K, but um, at work I got FX3, but then I went and I couldn't order any of the small Sony cameras, so I ended up having to pick up some Panasonic HD video cameras, and for $1,200, I
yeah,
actually like them better because they have
yeah,
XLR, they have large HDMI, they're made zoom lenses, so really it's better for a studio than a DSLR, because sometimes a
yeah,
DSLR you're doing a lot just to get a bokeh, now you really don't need that in broadcast
Yeah.
TV, in my opinion,
no,
because I come from old school broadcast. So
yeah. Well, like I can sit here and go like I can turn off the background blur and be like, okay, now you can see my background.
and you look better now. The contrast is better.
Yeah, well, because
It's not
it does weird
processing as
things when you
much.
turn. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
But the only reason I'm able to do this is because I got the crazy RTX 3060 whatever card.
How'd you get that?
That
You're able to
I
find
know
one?
people.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I know people who go and when this all took off, when said we need to get some cards, so they went and put a couple cards in, and then once they got their cards, they had the extra what do you call it, orders from the different retailers come in. They're like, well, we have this order, it's coming
There you
in. Do you
go.
want it? I'm like, yes. So I got it for retail.
I
So
built an AMD machine last year, and I've got a 1060 in it or something like that. It plays. I mean, it plays Valorant. That's kind of what I made it for. It does fine. But I want to get into Unreal Engine, start doing some virtual stuff. So I need to really get a
yeah,
bigger card. So, but that can wait.
yeah,
Another thing to buy,
yeah.
another thing to learn.
Well, it depends on how things are going. Just watch Ethereum. Ethereum goes up, you're not going to get your cards. Ethereum goes down. Here comes the cards.
Well, we'll see. Figure it's gonna go down a little bit, but you know,
Well, it's been bouncing up and down and stuff, and I think the whole NFT thing is coming to its natural end, where
yeah,
I think a lot of people are suddenly realizing that they're not as popular as people think, because people are basically. I was reading a couple days ago too. This is what I thought was happening, was that people are buying like they'll have the NFT, they'll mint it, and then they'll buy, sell it, buy, sell it, buy, sell it between like a couple accounts they have, and they're like, look at this great value, it's going up, and then some sucker, sorry to say it,
yeah,
buys it, and then they're like, well, why can't I sell it to anyone? It's like because they were buying and selling it between like their 20,
yeah. And
30
it's
accounts, and
I get frustrated with it all because I do believe NFTs as or smart contracts, just is going to be the future of content. You have to get beyond Bitcoin and beyond all the
yeah,
hype and the value right now, but it is going to be about
mm,
that contract that, if I tagged it to this video, then I'm going to get my 20% no matter who it plays throughout the world. That would be
yeah,
amazing,
yeah,
right? Because right now
yeah,
I'm feverishly making content trying to get 1,000 subs on YouTube so I can keep them afloat, so I can maybe try to get, some sort of next level from them. But, it would level the playing field, but I don't think anyone's going to let that happen anytime soon. So,
well, it again, it's that concept of I agree. There are some really good reasons to have like blockchain in there. There's some really good like applications you can use like NFTs for in terms of like again internal company stuff. I find that like a lot of the stuff that like NFTs and the cryptocurrency right now are basically hype train, and since there are no rules or the rules are like very sketchy, a lot of the sort of scammy things that governments generally say in monetary fund and stocks you're not allowed to do is happening right now
yeah.
in the crypto world, and until they sort of solve those, I don't think somebody should be throwing a ton of money and thinking I own an NFT to some cat video or something like that,
I just always look
despite the
at
benefits of having them. Yeah,
everybody needs to learn from the past. We all went through this with the .com bubble. So,
yeah.
Twitter was cool, and then even in our space video, there was 7 seconds, and then there was 12 seconds, and then there was all
I
these
remember
different
Vine. Vine was
Vine,
crazy. It's like
yeah,
just it took off, and then it's like it just took off, and everyone was like, "Wow, this is amazing!" And then overnight, it was just like, "It's done now."
yeah. So how about you guys? What about Singapore? What's the hot trend in Singapore right now?
We do we do NFTs and cryptocurrencies quite a bit. Here, the central government is supporting cryptocurrencies in a controlled manner, as they like to say. That
Mhm.
69 million that was paid for that NFT was a guy here in Singapore. So there's certainly an active community here. Um, I'm not so much on the hype. I follow it a little bit, but and I have a little bit of cryptocurrency, but literally just toy money type thing.
Right. Right.
Just to be in it and see how it works. But now the government here is allowing it, and in a safe and controlled manner. So it's not sort of the Wild West type thing. It is not everything is possible, but you can get access to most things. Um, so yeah, they're trying just to. So recently they did something whereby they said Bitcoin cannot be marketed to the general public. So it has
Uh,
to be sort of educated investors. Can't remember
Mhm.
the banking term for it, but so the general public you can't market cryptocurrencies to. So they used to have these Bitcoin machines in shopping malls and stuff, so
Yeah,
you
we
could
have
put your
those here.
banking card in, and then so
Yeah, we
those
have a
those had
couple.
to be removed from the public because that obviously now targets the public, and the local government here said basically, you can't do that anymore. So the cryptocurrency companies here in Singapore had to then remove these machines out of shopping malls and things. So if you're I think accredited investor is, I think, the word, then you
Mhm.
can buy cryptocurrencies freely, but yeah, general public not so much. So they're trying to do that so that mom and pop on the street doesn't get bitten by highly volatile cryptocurrencies by jumping on the bandwagon and then losing their rent and their pension, because they jumped in it and then it lost it. So that's kind of an example of things
Yeah,
that happen here.
everybody treats it like a lottery. They want to buy low, sell high. Get rich and get lucky, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
that usually only happens at the very
Well,
beginning. You know.
yeah.
in Canada, if I understand it correctly, they call cryptocurrency money, but they also called it a capital asset. So in
It's
Canada,
taxable.
if you lose money on well, it's a taxable. Yeah. So basically, if you, like if I were to buy like $100 US, like take some Canadian money and convert it to $100 US, and then convert it back and have less money because of the currency, I can't claim that as a capital gain. I can't claim that as a capital loss. It's a monetary fund, right? Whereas if you did that with stock, you could claim a capital loss or gain depending on how it
Mm,
goes. My understanding in Canada is what they did was they said if you make money on crypto, it's counted as a capital gain, but if you lose money on crypto, it's counted as a monetary transaction, so you can't claim the loss as the government's way of getting their tax money from it.
There you go. Was it true that I heard? Is it true the rumors that Ryan Reynolds actually runs the government of Canada? Is that how it goes?
Sure.
Just poking fun, man.
sure.
Just poking fun. How about the
Right
Philippines?
Hey,
now,
What's going on in the
right.
Philippines right now?
yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
all right. So, in the Philippines currently, we are on the actually today is the start of the official campaign period for the elections. But then again, I going back to the issue or the topic of NFTs. We cannot say we are the innovators in the Philippines. Maybe we are on the early majority or late majority. And as a design professor, I am currently teaching my students how to navigate throughout the NFTs, and we're getting there. We're trying to cope up with the trend right now, but the government is really careful in the on how to implement it, and some of the businesses also are trying to transition from Bitcoin to blockchains, and then now the mainstream in the NFTs. And many people or many artists now are trying to get the information out there for those people to be aware of the NFTs. And I think it's a good thing here. It gives a voice to artists who are not on the mainstream area, but then again, having an opportunity to showcase your work via the blockchain is really good.
That's cool. So you teach design at a college or
Yes, yes. I
okay.
actually my profession is a creative director, and I'm a design evangelist in some major universities in the Philippines.
Awesome. That's great. So I
That
have a
is pretty
degree in
cool.
fine art and sculpture. So and my
Yeah,
background
yeah,
is
yeah.
graphic
My,
design and video editing and all
yeah.
this kind of stuff. But
I,
um,
I'm a pharmacy graduate too.
awesome, awesome. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I guess as a fine artist, I understand the blockchain in
Hmm.
NFTs because I went to school for 4 years and then they kick you out and say you're supposed to make money, and
Correct.
you start. So I relate it to printmaking. So,
Yep.
in printmaking, you number your prints, you write them down. You only have 20, first run of
Yep.
20. That's how you go with this valuation. And then digital prints came
Hmm.
out and everybody was, the old school way was don't do it, but now everybody does them. you could probably make more money selling a digital print for $7 than trying to sell your painting for $1,000 to hang in someone's, house that you never
Yeah.
see again. But the goal, the goal would be the NFT would actually secure your artist,
Correct.
that
B.
music, fine art, things like that, that that no matter who sells it, you don't care. You're going to make your 20, 30% or whatever you put on it. I think that's the brilliant thing, for
Yeah.
artists.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
not,
definitely what I'm hoping will bubble to the top.
I think it will naturally, but I also think that, it's going to take a lot. And I think the goal of, governments are going to try to stop it from becoming, completely democratic. Like there was one thing I've always wanted to start a network of streamers, and somebody was like, well, you could do a DAO and you could do this and you can do that. And so I was reading through all this stuff, and it's no different than, it doesn't really democratize it, because if you own more coin, then you can change the direction of the company, so it's just like stocks or anything else. So it's just, you're just trading one thing for the other, really, and it would lock down piracy. You wouldn't be, pirating movies and stuff like that, because they wouldn't care, right? It would just, they would track it and bill you somehow. But, I just think it's something to always be aware of. It's something to always try. You don't have to know. Like for me right now, I'm obsessed with the Unreal Engine and virtual production, because for what I do, that's the future, right? I was doing it 10, 15 years ago, but, now you could, there was a guy on a forum that I have. He has a complete new set in Unreal that I'm trying to get a copy of, because if I could get that into Ecamm, throw up my green screen, I could be, this thing had fireworks, and it looked real, it's just like, and my computer could push it. And I was just like, that could totally change this game, the streaming game,
Well, and that's the big thing right now, is that it's sort of that concept of, like your computer can do all this stuff that would normally require crazy amounts of computing power. And so now you're able to say, I want this magic thing in utility. I think it's a timing thing, and you can have it there, and it can have, as you said, fireworks. It looks real, all that good stuff. That means that people like you and me and whatever could have these fancy sets, whereas before it was complicated and expensive and required very specialized equipment.
Right. I did it in broadcast television 10, 15 years ago, and it sucked. And the system we had sucked. It looked like crap. I fixed it because I had a friend of mine that was a 3D designer. We just built all of our sets in 3D Studio, and then I made green boxes. I measured it all out, and I told everybody, if you stay within this and you lean on this, it'll look real. And the owners of the company are like, how did we spend, $1 million back then, and it looks like crap, and you did it? What's the secret? I said, math. A tape measure and some math. It was really
tape measure and math, yeah.
But now it could be crazy, So, but then again,
How
it doesn't.
about AR and VR? What do you think about it?
I'm a big VR AR proponent. I just got my Oculus in December. I now do every morning. I get up and do boxing in Supernatural VR. It's a great workout. I think it's the future of everything. AR will be even better once it gets here. But I also bought the very first Google glasses, and they were crap. So I'm wanting to get my, I was trying to be an early adopter then. But I do see, I actually consult with companies. A major manufacturer had a letter from Ford that said, we're not telling you to do it, but they were encouraging all of their suppliers to buy the HoloLens from Microsoft, because they don't want to come into your facilities anymore. They want to do it virtually. So to me, that signals a big shift in how we all work, and how we do things. So, I'm doing boxing every day. I love it. I'm a martial artist. I do Aikido. I'm self-teaching myself, Kali and Eskrima sticks. And I could see.
You should try Krav Maga, bro.
I've done Krav. I have a black belt in Aikido. That's my martial art. But you could teach anything almost in virtual. But also then I thought AR. So imagine if my wife's a marathon runner. If you had an AR, a really high-tech AR, you could have a coach you set it just to run a little bit ahead of you, right? Or a little bit behind you, or just to pace you and coach you and push you along. It could be real people, So that's going to change. And COVID changed everything. you
Yes.
know,
Yeah,
and
I think AR is going to be like, once it's sort of whatever headset or like setup they have that you can then have AR running, I think you're going to see it like just go and explode everywhere, because there's a certain level of like, one, it's great for advertising because you can put the advertising up in AR, and
Hmm.
tell people, hey, here's this thing, here's the thing like you might not be able to find. But if you don't want to see it, you just, take it off and you're back into like the regular world. You're not necessarily bombarded by the
well,
constant
imagine if you
marketing.
were, if it was you had to give somebody CPR and the AR could actually show you how to do it, or I was a
Yeah.
I worked on a submarine in the Navy, and you had to, if
Hmm.
it was on fire and you couldn't see, you had to kind of feel your way, AR, it would tell you like, this is where the wires are, this is where not to
Yeah,
cut
here's
this,
your lidar. Yeah, exactly.
that, all that stuff, so, we could be superheroes at that point, but,
Yay.
the real Iron Man. But I think it's coming faster than we expect because of COVID. I think everybody put a lot of money and time and investment into it. The challenge is always going to be, for good or bad. I don't think it will fail. I don't think Meta will fail. I think that they're just going to lose money for a little bit, and that's going to help prop everything up, because everybody I know has got the Oculus now. All
Okay.
my family, all my friends, all my streaming friends, people are, and they're not, and they're older people. They're in their 40s and 50s. It's not just kids. So that's a big deal. So that adoption rate, now it's going to be like, we need more games. I need more games. I want more levels.
Correct.
I want more of this. So what, and we're going to come to get all that work done. We're going to come to the Philippines. We're going to try, how many people that I know that are trying to hire designers and editors in the Philippines,
Hmm.
because they got a great idea, and they, that's just the way. And the world's going to be that way, right? You're just going to have different areas of the world that are going to be better equipped financially, money rates and everything to do things. But, and I think that's, I'm a big believer of the creator economy, and hopefully I can make my entire living out of this shed behind my house and do what I want to do, whether that's a major motion picture or, not because I'm want to stay home all the time, but when I do have time, I'll actually go to the Philippines and travel, so that's the goal, right? We all want to make a decent living doing what we love, connecting. And I have better friends, and this always sounds weird when I say that, but I talk daily and I communicate with more people this way than I do in real life, because there's,
Yeah.
I live in a small southern conservative state, so there's not as many open-minded people here. So, but I have friends in England, and now I have friends in the Philippines and Singapore and Canada, and this is what's happening for real. So there's people starting
Mhm.
companies, building businesses, starting TV shows. It doesn't matter now, and the
Yeah.
technology is catching up. As soon as we get, we in the U.S. we spend a ton of money. They passed a lot of laws to really fire up the broadband, and I'm seeing that really take off, big.
Same thing out here
So
in Canada, although not as big.
Brian,
But yeah, they're trying to, like, again, it's that concept of like, I know in Canada, like, again, it's province to province, but the same thing. There's a big push to say, if people aren't on the internet, they're not in the economy marketplace right now. Like, I know, like, Brent, if you were around like last year, like most of it, I was like going like, really want to stream, really want to stream,
right?
really want to stream, but instead it'd be like, I really want to, and then psh, it's gone, and be like, thanks a lot, internet.
But now you're doing better.
So,
Yeah,
so
well, now it's usable. Yeah,
yeah,
no, now it's usable. And I'm
Brent,
waiting for Starlink.
Go ahead.
I have a Apple M1 Mac Mini, just like you. Mine is
Mm-hmm.
16 gigabytes out of 2020. It says here on my screen, and so I have more or less, I guess, a similar setup as you, and it seems to all work okay. Coming into your stream as
Yeah,
a guest,
I have an 8 gig,
um,
so, or 8 GB.
8 gig. So
Everything's
the
fine tonight,
what
so I don't know.
yeah, it works okay. The thing that I do have is, here in Singapore we have relatively fast internet. When I see on the eCam boards, people struggling with like 20 mega MB
Up and
BPS or
down, yeah.
megabits per second, right? So I work on a download speed of 740
Whoa.
megabits and upload speed of 370 at the moment. So I
And
just
I'm
did a
sure
speed
that
test. So
Yeah,
Singapore, from what
I,
I've
I
seen,
got
it'll
I
be
got
Singapore
three.
that already has a ton of AR and things going on, because you have that speed and infrastructure.
We have that
5G.
speed indeed. So Korea is even
Korea's
faster,
even
but
faster. Yeah.
Singapore is pretty. We're a city state, so everybody here has essentially cable in their house. It comes in from the streets, and it's relatively economical. So my connection obviously is an Ethernet cabled connection. So that's why I have these huge speeds here locally. I don't know the speed. So now I'm connecting, the speed that I just read is a speed connecting to, the local hub here. If I were, as I'm connecting now to you, I don't know how that relates to, connecting to you in the US, because the overland, the transatlantic cable, I don't know how that translates. But connecting to my local hub here, it's pretty fast.
Blows your mind to
So
think that, doesn't it? That we're going through the ocean, and
Well, we're
yeah,
basically on the opposite sides of the planet, so it's
yeah,
like,
we
yeah,
could. If I had
and that's
Ash
the big
Borland on
thing.
here from London now, I'd be worldwide.
There you
And
go.
this is what amazes me, and this is what keeps me going every day, because it just keeps getting better, and then I keep meeting more interesting people, and next thing you know, I think the future is, I'm the type of person where I stick my nose in a lot of things, and people go, hey, I need somebody to do this, and I go, well, I can do it. And then I go say, man, I know this guy in Singapore and this guy in the Philippines and a guy in Canada, and they all have the pieces. We could do this. So that's, to me, is the future of work. And so you're really not only streaming and things like this is a skill, but networking and personal relationships. And, for me, being able to, I'm a connector, so I'm able to put pieces together. But I also do the work too. So, but it is good to see that, you could find people all over the world to do what you need to get done. So my long-term goal is I want to take a YouTube channel, and I want to have it run for 24 hours live, just have everybody take it up in different time zones, and just, I would think that would be hilarious,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Don't
But it's
don't
cool.
be alone live on your channel. Apparently, I've been told that I go a little nuts sometimes with other people. The guy was doing an unboxing of a 3D printer. So if anyone's ever seen those, it's like 2-3 hour thing, but like he has to go and figure something out. So he's like, he goes thing, and I'm there to just provide some entertainment. I'm like, he left me alone.
oh God.
It's a very entertaining
dangerous
time to which I'm
move.
like, you might want to watch that and just make sure you're cool with what I did.
Oh,
It was all good, but it was just like,
see, if it was all NFT based, I would just pull your coin, right? I'd be like, oh, no coin for him. So now, but
Speaking
this
of
is,
work, I've got to make a move, but
yep,
it's good
I
to
do too. I
chat
need to
with you
go
all,
out
but
for
I'm
tonight.
going to go and
I appreciate you
see you
guys, and
later.
if you don't mind, I'm probably going to load this to my YouTube channel.
No
And you can
problem.
catch it there. I need the view hours, and I think this is interesting. This is going to be what my show is, the Brent Collins Show. It's going to be a talk show where I'm really interested into the creator economy, and where we're going from here forward. I'm always trying to stay ahead of what's going on, so I'll have guests from time to time like yourselves, and especially it's good to hear what's going on in different parts of the world, because we in America are
we have
stupid.
snow.
We're just so in our own head. We don't look outward, and that I want to show people that, hey, there's people out there. We're all the same. We're all just trying to, we're all just trying to make a living and have a good time at it. And I think it's,
And I might also invite you, Brett, in the future for my channel.
that'd
I'll
be
be
great.
focusing on design and
Oh, I would love
advertising.
to. I've been a designer for many years. Sadly, everything all the way up to Photoshop, Illustrator, all that stuff. But
Yeah,
now I use Canva
correct.
because it's just faster.
Too easy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But also, I bought an iPad Pro, so I'm trying to do more
yeah.
Procreate and more painterly
That's correct.
stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But I would love to be on your
I
show.
have one of those as well.
Just hit me up on on here, message me, connect with me on Facebook here. You can go to sprantcollins.com is my website. You can always reach me there, and send me links to everybody if you have a YouTube channel so I can go subscribe to your channel. I would love the same from you guys, and I look forward to seeing you guys on again. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Brent. See you.
See ya.